Red Bull has just put its Spa upgrade under the brightest possible spotlight, and the timing could not be more important. Spa is more than 7 kilometers of flat-out speed, violent elevation changes, high-speed corners, and almost no room for weakness. A car can look competitive in one section, then lose everything in the next. That is why this upgrade matters. Because Red Bull is not simply searching for more downforce, more straight-line speed, or a faster qualifying lap. The real target is something much bigger. A car that stays balanced when the speed rises, protects its tires when the race becomes difficult, and gives the driver enough confidence to attack without hesitation. But one part of what Red Bull has revealed changes the entire picture. It could affect how the car behaves through Spa's fastest corners, how much speed it carries on the straights, and how many strategic options the team has when conditions begin to change. And once every detail is connected, the upgrade stops looking like a normal development package. It starts looking like Red Bull's attempt to fix the weakness that could decide everything. To understand why Red Bull chose Spa for this moment, you have to understand what this circuit does to a Formula One car. Spa does not reward one single strength. It demands everything at once. The car needs speed on the straights, because the full throttle sections are long enough to punish even a small amount of extra drag. But the car also needs confidence through the fast corners, where the driver cannot afford hesitation. That creates a brutal compromise. Take away too much downforce, and the car becomes faster in a straight line, but nervous when the road begins to twist. Add too much downforce, and the car feels planted in the corners, but slower when every rival opens the throttle. It is like trying to build one pair of shoes for sprinting, climbing, and running in the rain. They may be perfect for one job, but Spa demands all three. And that is exactly why this upgrade carries so much pressure. Red Bull does not only need more performance. It needs performance that works across the entire lap. The car has to be calm under braking, sharp when the driver turns, stable when the speed rises, and gentle enough on the tires to avoid paying for that performance later. That sounds simple. It is not. Because every change to a Formula One car can disturb something else. A small adjustment at the front can change the airflow along the middle. That can affect the rear. And once the rear begins to behave differently, the driver may feel a completely different car. This is where upgrades become dangerous. The new part may work exactly as expected, but the car around it may not. And Spa will expose that immediately. The circuit rises and falls. The car compresses through one section, then becomes lighter over another. Wind can hit the bodywork from a different direction. Track temperature can change. Rain can reach one part of the lap before another. So the car is never solving the same problem twice. One corner asks for stability. The next asks for rotation. Then the straight demands efficiency. And by the time the driver reaches the next braking zone, the tires may already be behaving differently. That is why the most important word in this upgrade story is not speed. It is balance. A balanced car gives the driver confidence. And confidence changes everything. When a driver trusts the front of the car, the turn-in becomes cleaner. When the driver trusts the rear, the throttle can be applied earlier. When both ends work together, the driver stops reacting to the car and starts attacking the circuit. That difference can be tiny on one corner. Across an entire lap, it becomes significant. Across an entire race, it can become decisive. But here is the problem. A car can feel fast for one lap and still be difficult over a longer run. Fresh tires can hide weaknesses. Low fuel can make the car feel lighter and more responsive. A perfect track condition can make an upgrade look stronger than it really is. Then the race begins. Fuel load increases. The tires move through different temperature ranges. The driver gets caught in traffic. Dirty air reduces grip. And suddenly, the upgrade is tested in a completely different world. This is where Red Bull will learn whether the new package is a real solution, or just a short-term improvement. Because the strongest upgrade is not always the one that creates the biggest headline. Sometimes, it is the one that gives the driver the same feeling lap after lap. Predictability may not sound dramatic. But in Formula One, predictability creates speed. Imagine trying to catch a ball while someone changes its direction at the final second. You might catch it once. You might even catch it twice. But you cannot rely on it. Now imagine the ball arriving the same way every time. You become faster, more confident, more aggressive. A Formula One driver needs that same trust from the car. The driver has to know what will happen before the steering wheel is turned. At Spa, that trust matters even more. The fastest sections do not allow time for doubt. A small lift of the throttle can cost momentum. A small correction can increase tire temperature. A small loss of confidence can affect the next corner before the driver has even reached it. And this is where Red Bull's Spa package becomes more than a collection of new parts. It becomes an attempt to control a chain reaction. Better stability can reduce sliding. Less sliding can protect the tires. Better tires can improve race pace. Better race pace can open more strategy options. And more strategy options can give Red Bull control when the race becomes unpredictable. That is the real prize. Not one spectacular lap. Control. Because Spa rarely gives teams a simple race. Conditions can change quickly. Traffic can destroy a plan. A safety car can erase an advantage. One badly timed pit stop can move a driver from attack to defense. The team with the fastest car may not always win. The team with the widest range of options often has the better chance. And that is why Red Bull needs this upgrade to do more than produce raw speed. It has to make the car easier to use, easier to set up, easier to understand, easier to trust. That sounds like a smaller goal. In reality, it may be the biggest one. Because a narrow car is a fragile car. When the setup window is too small, everything has to be perfect. The temperature, the wind, the tire preparation, the ride height, the balance. One small change can push the car away from its best performance. But a wider window gives the team room. Room to adapt. Room to react. Room to recover when the weekend does not follow the plan. And at Spa, that room can be worth more than a tiny gain on paper. But the real test is still ahead. Because the upgrade does not only have to work in clean air, on fresh tires, with an empty track. It has to work while the car is following another driver. It has to work when the tires begin to fade. It has to work when the driver changes lines. And it has to work when the pressure reaches its highest point. That is where Red Bull's reveal becomes truly important. Not because of what the new parts look like, but because of what they may allow the car to become. More stable, more adaptable, more complete. And if that transformation is real, Spa may not simply reveal whether the upgrade works. It may reveal whether Red Bull has finally solved the deeper problem hiding underneath its performance. But solving that deeper problem is not as simple as bolting new parts onto the car and sending it down the pit lane. The first real battle happens before the race even begins. Red Bull has to prove that the upgrade behaves on the circuit exactly as expected. That is where many development stories fall apart. On a computer, the airflow can look clean. In a wind tunnel, the numbers can move in the right direction. But Spa is not a computer. The track has bumps. The wind changes. The car moves under braking. It rises under acceleration. It leans through corners. And every movement can change the way air travels around the car. That matters because a Formula One car depends on controlled airflow. The bodywork is designed to guide air toward specific areas. When that air follows the intended path, the car can produce grip more efficiently. When it breaks away, even slightly, the balance can change. And the driver feels that change immediately. The front may stop responding. The rear may become nervous. The steering may feel sharp in one corner, then strangely slow in the next. That inconsistency is the enemy. A driver can adapt to a car that is slightly slower than expected. But adapting to a car that keeps changing its personality is much harder. And Spa gives the driver almost no time to recover. One mistake does not always stay in one corner. A poor exit can hurt the following straight. A small slide can raise tire temperature. A moment of hesitation can damage confidence for the next high-speed section. This is how tiny weaknesses become large losses. And this is why Red Bull's first task is not to chase the fastest possible lap. It is to understand the car. The engineers will want clean comparisons. They will look at how the car responds at different speeds. They will study whether the balance remains stable as fuel levels change. They will compare what the sensors report with what the driver feels. And that final comparison may be the most important of all. Because data can say the car is producing more load. The driver can still say it is harder to trust. That sounds like a contradiction. It is not. More aerodynamic performance does not automatically create a better car. The performance has to arrive in a useful way. Imagine someone helping you carry a heavy box. If they lift smoothly, the job becomes easier. If they suddenly pull upward, then let go, the box becomes harder to control. The force is there, but the delivery is wrong. A Formula One driver can experience the same problem with downforce. If the grip builds predictably, the driver can lean on it. If it arrives suddenly or disappears without warning, the driver cannot fully commit. And commitment is everything at Spa. The driver needs to know that the car will remain stable before entering the corner. Not during the corner. Not after the correction. Before. That level of trust allows the driver to carry more speed without forcing the car. And this is where the upgrade could create a major chain reaction. A more stable car allows smoother steering. Smoother steering reduces unnecessary sliding. Less sliding protects the tires. Better tire condition improves race pace. Stronger race pace gives the team more strategic freedom. One improvement can influence almost every part of the weekend. But the opposite is also true. If the upgrade makes the car more sensitive, Red Bull may lose time trying to understand it. The team may change the setup, then change it again. One adjustment can solve a front-end problem while creating a rear-end problem. Another can improve qualifying pace while damaging long-run consistency. Soon, the team is no longer improving the car. It is chasing the car. That is one of the most dangerous situations in Formula One. Because every practice session has limited time. Every lap matters. And every wrong direction reduces the number of useful answers available before qualifying. At Spa, that pressure becomes even greater. The lap is long. That means fewer complete laps during a session. Traffic can ruin a comparison. A yellow flag can interrupt a run. Changing weather can make 2 laps impossible to compare fairly. So Red Bull may be working with incomplete evidence. The engineers still have to decide which parts to keep, which setup direction to follow, and how much risk to accept. That decision can define the entire weekend. Because once qualifying begins, there is far less freedom to experiment. The car has to be ready. The driver has to trust it. And the team has to believe that the upgrade will survive conditions that may be completely different from practice. This is where the pressure moves from the garage to the cockpit. A driver does not experience an upgrade as a technical drawing. The driver experiences it through the steering wheel, the brake pedal, and the seat. Every vibration matters. Every movement matters. The driver feels when the front tires begin to lose grip. The driver feels when the rear starts to rotate too quickly. The driver feels when the car becomes lighter over a rise. And at Spa, those sensations arrive at enormous speed. That means the driver's confidence can become the fastest way to judge whether the package is working. If the driver begins attacking earlier in the session, that is a strong sign. If the steering corrections become smaller, that matters. If the driver can repeat similar laps without fighting the balance, that matters even more. Consistency is often where a real upgrade reveals itself. Not in one perfect lap. In the ability to repeat performance. Again. And again. And again. That is what Red Bull needs. Because a race is not won by producing one brilliant moment. It is won by surviving an entire sequence of changing problems. Heavy fuel, worn tires, traffic, wind, pressure, strategy. A package that only works in ideal conditions may create an impressive headline. A package that works through all of those conditions can change the result. And this brings us to the most sensitive part of the story. The upgrade may not affect both drivers in the same way. 2 drivers can sit in the same car and feel completely different things. One may prefer a sharp front end. The other may want more stability at the rear. One may be comfortable correcting a nervous car. The other may lose confidence when the balance moves unexpectedly. Neither approach is automatically wrong. They are simply different. But an upgrade can push the car toward one preference. And when that happens, performance becomes personal. A part may look successful on the timing screen because one driver can exploit it. The other driver may struggle to reach the same limit. Then the team faces a difficult question. Is the upgrade truly better? Or is it only better for one driving style? That question can create pressure inside any team. Because development direction matters. Every future part is influenced by what the engineers learn now. If the new package rewards one kind of feedback, the car may continue moving in that direction. And once that happens, the gap between the drivers can grow. Not because one driver suddenly forgot how to drive. Because the car may be speaking a language that one driver understands more naturally. This is where a technical update becomes a human story. The engineers are searching for performance. The drivers are searching for confidence. The team needs both sides to meet in the same place. And Spa may reveal whether that is happening. Watch the way the drivers approach the fastest corners. Listen to the confidence in their feedback. Look at whether the car needs constant setup changes. Those clues can say more than one headline lap time. Because the real success of this package will not be measured by how dramatic the parts look. It will be measured by how much freedom they create. Freedom for the driver to attack. Freedom for the engineers to adapt. Freedom for the strategists to make choices instead of reacting to problems. But there is one final test that none of those early laps can answer. What happens when Red Bull places this car in traffic? Because clean air can make almost any strong car look impressive. The real challenge begins when another car is directly ahead. And that is where Spa could expose the upgrade's greatest strength, or its most dangerous weakness.